The NBA finally released the schedule for next season's games, and the Thunder apparently have one of the toughest schedules to start the season off in the entire league. How exciting! And not only does that mean our young team is going to be challenged very early on, it's also likely that this schedule will have a direct impact on several of the narratives surrounding the Thunder, from individual awards all the way to pro tanking strategies near the end of the season. To keep things simple, I want to go through each month of the Thunder's schedule and predict the wins and losses while highlighting any marquee matchups or important season milestones. At the end of the video, I'll also go into my worst case scenario and my best case scenario. First, and I normally don't do this, I want to do a little bit of self-promotion. I'm making merch now for the Thunder, and in time I hope to have merch for every team in the NBA. And the second big announcement is that in a few weeks, I'm also launching a Patreon. I'm trying to put a lot of thought and care into what I'm offering my patrons and how I can make the benefits from your monetary support truly worth it. I'm extremely excited about both those things. They'll definitely be closely related. For example, patrons will have discounts for my merch and stuff like that. I'll have a lot more info on both those things in the near future though. For now, let's get started. The Thunder season starts on October 19th against the Minnesota Timberwolves. After that, they have 5 more games in the month: Denver, Minnesota again, the revamped Clippers twice, and the Luka Mavericks. It's a rough start. I think we take our home game against Minnesota, but go winless apart from that. So 1 wins and 5 losses to finish the month. November isn't terrible. We'll probably get a few wins that month. The schedule starts off with Orlando, which is also the only Thunder game that's going to be on TNT, or on national television for that matter. I think this game against the Magic is going to be a W, and these are the wins and losses for the rest of this month. And I am being a bit generous, mostly because I have a lot of faith in how this team is gonna start out, and conversely I don't have a lot of faith on how the New York Knicks are gonna look, especially in the beginning of the season. I don't know if Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett are all gonna be clicking at that point. On the 25th, we go up against Chicago at home, and I'm gonna give us the edge on that one, although I have more faith in us beating New York twice than I do us beating Chicago. But if Chicago's not healthy by then I think we can take that. We'd end the month with a total record so far of 9 wins and 13 losses. Now December starts off pretty rough. We got 5 away games against good teams: Minnesota, Atlanta, Memphis, Cleveland, and Dallas. Those might all be losses, but I'll give us a win against Cleveland. I think we might be able to catch Cleveland off guard and barely take that as a win. Then we go 7 games in a row at home. I think we can take a game against the Wolves, against the Grizzlies, and I think we can steal 1 game from Portland, as well as our last home game against the San Antonio Spurs, who are going to be pretty awful. Our record going into the new year will be 14 wins and 22 losses. Then we have January, which kicks off against a tough Boston game at home, and then Orlando again. I think we can steal that one as well. I don't have huge expectations for the Magic going into this season, despite having Paolo, who I think is a total stud. I think we can steal a win against Washington because they never seem to have a very cohesive idea of who they are as a team. And then I think we can steal a win against Brooklyn, which might be in shambles by that point, and against the Indiana Pacers, which, just like Washington, is not a team that I feel has a very clear path ahead of them. The Hawks, despite adding DeJounte Murray, did lose 2 impactful role players in Delon Wright and Kevin Knox, so I don't think they're going to be unbeatable by any stretch. We'll end January with a record of 19 wins and 31 losses. Then February kicks off, and it's actually one of the friendlier months. 2 Houston games in a row, which I think we might split, although we might have to turn on the tanking switch to lose one of those games. Let's say Shea, Giddey, and Dort all have sprained ankles for one of those games. Then a couple of losses, and we have Houston for a 3rd time. Now I think losing 2 of these games is actually going to be pretty difficult, so I'll give us a W again. Utah might also be in shambles just like the Nets, except they're actually trying to be in shambles, so I'll give us a W against them. And then the last win this month should be against the Kings. who I do think are better now than they've been for the last couple of years, but it's the Kings, and I just don't trust them very much. So that's a W. The record by the end of February will be 23 wins and 38 losses. And if this record is accurate, the Thunder should be fully in tank mode by now. Then March starts off with 4 home games. I think we can steal the Lakers game because at this point, the Lakers might be headed for the play-in, or they might even be on pace to miss that mark. And I doubt LeBron is going to be okay with barely making the playoffs and probably getting swept. So I'm going to go ahead and assume they won't be playing their stars, and we're going to steal the game. Then I think we split the 2 games against Utah. After that, near the end of the month, we have 3 games in a row against the Clippers, including a back-to-back. They probably won't be playing their stars in the back-to-back, so I think we win the 3rd game. Then I think we steal the games against Charlotte and Detroit. The Thunder's record is now 29 wins and 49 losses. Finally, to end the season, April only has 4 games, and I predict thanks to players resting, it will be the only month we'll have a winning record. I think we beat Phoenix, we beat Utah, and we beat the Memphis Grizzlies, mostly because they're going to be headed for the playoffs, and their seeding might be pretty certain by then, which means they have no real reason to try and win these games. That means that based on this schedule breakdown, the Thunder are going to win 32 games. And the funny thing is, a few weeks ago I looked into the Thunder's stats from previous seasons, including last season, and I took into consideration things like injuries and tanking, and I predicted the Thunder would win 33 games. So it's pretty cool to see that this exercise almost took me to that exact number. Now, when I learned the new schedule was front-loaded with difficult games, I got worried that Presti might pull the plug a lot earlier than I had anticipated. But to me it looks like there's still plenty of room for some wins. Unfortunately, it also looks like we won't have the most impressive record going into the All-Star game. So unless Shea is playing out of his mind, it's unfortunately not looking great for his case to make his first All-Star appearance. My last video actually went into detail covering that exact topic. Please check it out if you haven't already. It got off to a really slow start views-wise, but who knows, maybe it can pick up some steam. If we do end up winning 32 games, from a positive perspective, we'll almost certainly be in the lottery again, and probably be a bottom 8 team in the league, which essentially guarantees a top 10 pick. I am having a hard time telling whether a 32-win season would be a disappointment for me or a success. I think that means I'd be okay with it, but I wouldn't love it. Don't get me wrong, I want to see OKC succeed. If this group is able to gel faster than expected, they might end up winning a lot more. But I also think it's even possible Presti pulls the plug and he pulls it hard. Meaning we might be on pace for 30 wins, and then a hard tank keeps us under the 28 win mark, at which point we could be a bottom 6 team in the league, and our lottery odds to get a top 4 pick just got considerably better. I wouldn't be totally against that. This team we currently have, I believe, can become good. If we add another piece through a big trade where Presti cashes in a bunch of picks, that can make us great. But if we add another top 6 pick on top of that, now we're really talking about contending for a long time. Finally, before I end the video like I promised, I know the middle is often seen as a boring place to be, a boring take to have, so I want to also say what my 2 extremes for this team are. The absolute lowest I could see this team being is the same amount of wins as last season, 24. Now that would be a disappointment. Even though the West is much healthier and much more competitive, I know we all want to see us take a step forward, even if it's a small one. I think this 24 game mark could happen if we lose our games against the Magic, the Rockets, the Spurs. Those will be big ones if we want the team to show any sort of improvement records-wise. We should be better than those teams. On the flip side, just like 8 games is separating us from 24 wins, it's also separating the Thunder from being a 40-win team. 40 wins is what I think the tippy top for this team's potential is. It would require our young guys to mesh extremely well, but it's not inconceivable. Big jumps in record aren't unheard of, and the Thunder themselves are not strangers to going from a terrible season to an incredible one. They had a massive jump in games during the Harden, Westbrook, KD era. and then stayed in contention for many years after that. So could the Thunder make a little bit of a leap like that and go from 24 all the way to 40 wins? Well, I think it's certainly possible. Maybe not probable, but possible. I'm definitely not saying that we should be expecting the same type of accomplishments from Shea, Giddey, and Chet as we did from Harden, Westbrook, and KD. It's a very high bar to be comparing a young, inexperienced core to. But like I said, from 32 wins, which is what I predicted, to 40, it's not that much. Let's say we steal 1 or 2 games against some teams that we shouldn't. The Kings, the Pacers, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Jazz. There's a lot of places where we might end up getting a W. That would definitely be the most exciting outcome of them all, and we're a lot closer to contention than previously thought. But anyway, that is it for today's topic. Before you leave though, make sure you've subscribed and liked to stay up to date with my uploads, and feel free to follow me on Twitter, ThunderUpDavid. I like to tweet about the Thunder, but also general NBA things. Anyway, be on the lookout for some more updates regarding my Patreon and merch, and I'll see y'all next time.